Hi. Hey, everyone. Mhm. Yes. Well, I wouldn't call it a new year, but what we were told, we were taught that a new year starts in January. Well, let's talk about a few things. I don't want to be preaching, but I want to talk about a few things. Well, let's talk about the seasons. Now, about these seasons, we have 4 seasons, right? You have spring, summer, autumn, what we call fall. Autumn is when the leaf turns and then it falls. And they said something about it's two different things, but autumn is fall. The leaves have to change for it to fall. And then you have winter. And we're going through winter. So the seasons change. So the weather change. And when the weather change, we have like a different outcome from that, right? Our temperatures change. Right? So as the season change, our temperatures change. Our view change. Our outcome change. The things we see and do change. Even though we have our regular schedule, if you go to work, you go to school, whatever you're doing, that don't change. But your outcome of the day change. And let me see if I can explain that to you. When you go out in the summertime, it's very hot, right? Your attire change, right? You have to dress up for that weather. You don't want to overdress. You get too hot. And things happen. There's consequences, right? And then for the autumn, you have to change. You have to add on more layers, right? Because now you're like, oh, you have to change from like a t-shirt, now you have to add a sweater, right? And then when winter comes, you have to add on another set of garments. Because now it's cold now, so you have to protect your inner core now. You got to protect your heart, your liver, your kidney, your chest, your softer organs, the more vital organs. So, well, we can continue with that later on, but you have to add on another set of garment. Now, you have to add on a jacket. So not only, but this through all of those seasons, you still have to keep on clothing. You never have to take off. Understand what I'm saying? You have to add more garments. See? Because in the spring, you just have on maybe a light shirt. And then when the summer comes, you want to protect your son from the skin, so you wear cotton fabric, more cotton, or linen. But Now you have to add on something to shade you, right? Like a hat or glasses, right? And then the other season come, you don't take off that. Now you're adding on something to it, maybe like a vest. So now you have on the shirt, your light sweater. Now you have on a vest. Now when the other season come, you have to wear a thicker version of those two shirts. So now you have on a thicker shirt. Now you have on like one of those leg warmers, or now you're wearing one of those undergarments that comes with like little garment earrings. What y'all call? Now you wearing like a thermal. That's in terms of you can understand. Now you're wearing that. And now the thicker shirt, right? Or a sweater and a vest. No winter now. You have on all things that you wear from the spring, summer, and autumn. You're just wearing a jacket now. Now let's talk about the vital organs. Like the back of your legs, there's a vein from your nervous system that's connected to. And your nerves is connected to your heart. So all of that. And your nerves. No, for all your nerves now, that's how you feel, you touch, you can taste, because it's sensory, that you can sense everything, right? Those things we always leave out. Like, people don't really cover those areas like that, because you notice that most of the tires that you're putting on, it's covering your core area more than your hands and your legs. Now, for your hands and your legs now, those are important. Not saying because it's not important, because the organs what make it more important. But this is how you pick things up, you walk. And people are appreciative of things, of those things, right? Of having hands and legs so they can walk around and hold things. And then when you see other people without them and you see them doing the same things that you're doing, and you be like, you be more grateful, but they're more grateful than you with you, and you have them all. Right? Because they still can do. Right? It makes you think about, when you think about all those things and how you have to cope and correspond and adjust, right? The most intelligent person is when you can adjust to each weather, each season, what we will call now time. Now we're going to change season to time. You change for the time, right? So each season change, you adjust, you change. And intelligence comes when you can adapt to change, right? Now that's normal for us to do that, right? Because you were taught to do that. It's passed down from your mother to you and you to your children. Now this is when you move through that, you change it with the word. Now you see their time. You see different structures of time, different structures of season, right? Because now you have BC, and then you have, all right, so we're going to go from the beginning. You have two AXs, AX1 and 2. One is creation, and after creation, it goes to the flood. So it's AX1 and 2. X1 is creation to the flood. 1, AX2. That's with Noah to Abraham because of his sons. Ham, where you have Abraham. He learned those things from his son. That's why it's AX1 and 2. You see the first man to Noah for you to have Abraham. All right, so then you have BC. That's coming from Abraham to Moses. And between those times, Yahshua came. So you have from BC to DC. DC is the death of Christ. In that time, you have the Sermon on the Mount, the Passover. And now you notice that marks up to 4. X1 and 2. BC. DC. Now you have AC. That's after Christ. That's with the resurrection, with the teachings of Paul, with Peter and his disciples, and the death of his disciples. And then you have PT. That's where we at now, present time. What they will call the latter days. So we're at the latter days. And they count that up as X1 and 2, BC, DC, AC, PT. That's 6. So that's each one of those is say 1,000 years. So that's 600,000 years. So you have to make sure it has to match up with the Bible, right? Because we're going back. Creation took Yahweh to make 6 days. And the seventh day, he created and he rests. Seventh day was of self. Like it was created within itself. If you get what I mean. Because it's his day. So it's like automatic. And you see that, right? And then you have all these years. So when he created, he worked and rest. Now, the world, that's when time started, when sin came. Bop. So, time started there. Right? And remember, Peter said how the days are numbered. So you have the AX 1 and 2, BC, DC, AC, PT. That's 6. So that means a Sabbath day is coming. Right? I'm explaining it in time so you can understand. So a Sabbath is coming. God's Sabbath is coming. Can you see it in the beginning that he had one? And Peter told you with the days how it is. One day for God is like 1,000 years for man. Right? And we're at a period of 6 now. Right? That means the Sabbath is coming. God's Sabbath is coming. Now, that marks Judgment Day. You get what I'm saying? So it's a definite. He had one before, it doesn't mean he's not going to have one now. He's going to have one. That's why he talk about the feast. And he talk about time period of waiting. It's like a wedding. Because you know it's happening. It's written. Like it's a contract. Like when you get married, you have to sign it. And you're saying like, oh yeah, this is the day that y'all about to go and do it because you already got your license. And they give you a amount of time for you to prepare and get the day ready so you don't have to go renew it again to get more days. You hear what I'm saying? So it's like the same thing. Right? He knows he's about to get married. God knows that. And we know we his brides, so we know our wedding day is coming. Our first love is about to come, So where that's what the preparation is for, because the wedding day is coming. We're like the virgin waiting for the groom to come. Like, it's coming. That's why I said prepare your oil. You have your oil ready, because the time will be long of waiting, right? He did not say it's going to be short. It's a waiting period. And for you to get married, you have to make sure everything is in order for your wedding day. You gotta make sure that the place you're about to get married is ready. Right? I should say he's going to prepare a place, so the place is ready. You gotta make sure you're in order. You get your documents ready. That's our faith, our documents, the Bible. You gotta get that ready. So you gotta know it. Know what it says. Comprehend it. You know your contract. The Bible, we know what it says. He says he's coming. You know the reason why he died. He was murdered for sin. He was murdered. The Ten Commandments came, and he came preaching about it so we can understand it. And he trying to make us understand, like, you already know what God said we shouldn't do. So he tell you turn the other cheek instead of going out there trying to curse somebody out and turn to anger, and you end up hurting that person. And all those things lead to your anger can override you, and you end up hurting that person. Thou shalt not murder, turn the other cheek. He teach you about being meek. Don't start to anger. He was teaching you all those things that we can do, so we have a chance to go to heaven, to be in the place that he's going to prepare for us. He's like telling us, it's like going on dates before y'all set the wedding date. You know what I mean? Y'all going on dates, again, a good relationship, so y'all can know what it is. Like, you know where y'all stand. So you're going over the contract. Right? He told you, look, you know my name? Don't call me what these Greeks call me. Don't call me what these Latin people call me. Call me by the name that my father gave me. He said my name Yahshua, so call me what he said my name is. Don't call me what these people call me. Know my name. Know that they murdered me. They murdered me because I was telling the Ten. So you're going over the agreement. You know exactly what it says. Then the dog just threw me off. He heard the noise outside. Dog sitting. Cute little boxer. Anyway, so he set up the contract. So you know what it is, right? He even gave you an admitted explanation. I was already explaining it, but I was going back because I don't know what the dark sound covered, and I'm not re-recording. Okay, so like he says, he told you what his name is. Don't call me what these Greek people call me. Call me what my father said my name is, right? Call me by Yahshua. They murdered me. I'm over here telling you, because you know the Ten Commandments. You know it's written. You know what it says. Right? I'm telling you what God says, because Moses had to give those commandments because they didn't want to follow the Ten Commandments. It's simple Ten Commandments, but it's so hard to do. So it's easier. That's why it's broader. Sin is wider as the road to sin. Yeah? So it's so wide. It's enough to carry everybody. It's so wide. Right? And he's trying to say, look, they didn't want to follow what God said. I'm trying to tell you. Explain it what you can do. So you can understand what you should do. Since you know what God said he don't like, so I'm going to tell you what he like. I'm going to tell you how he be. I even walk the walk, so you know it can be done. You know what I mean? I walked with the Holy Spirit. He kept me, told me when to flee, tell me when to talk. He even told me what to say. You know what I mean? It guided me. The Spirit of my Father was with me. You know what I mean? So he can do what he had to do. That's why he said, hey, I'm here. I told you how you can be. But look, my father sent me here. And I'm doing what he told me to do. I ain't his bit. It's about him. It's about fulfilling what he said. So it can't be done till y'all can come with me. You know what I mean? So that's what he did. And they murdered him. In those days, the exile happened. You know what I mean? The ones that they ran out, from the ones that they killed and murdered, from the ones who already was left back to have to go through all this stuff that they were doing. Like, they bring it down to amount that they can control from so many that was there. It goes into today's world, all these war and stuff. They're trying to depopulate the world. The exile, that's what's going on right now. That's why God says it's going to be worse than ever happened before. So you think that exile was bad, and it was. It's going to be worse because it's going to be more. You know what I mean? So it's like that. That's why he said this is going to be like the day of Moses. When sin came, like Sodom and Gomorrah. When sin was rage, and he showed you that example how it will be, brimstone and fire when it's time for the end. And he talk about Noah. When sin, he showed you different examples. But that sin, with the fallen angels and all that, makes it so bad that he had to build an ark. Because it was bad that he had to put animals on with his children that was there. You know, Noah and his family, his kids, their wives, to escape the wrath of God. And then he showed us, all right, look, it was that bad. And even when you told them nobody came. Nobody. That tells you a lot. So now, it would be like that. For the ones who understand, from the ones who heard it and don't care, from the ones who don't believe, from the ones who think the world will never stop, from the ones who know of the end, but don't think it matters. And then it continues. If one don't even believe in God, they believe the world is the world and government and universe, all type of crap. You know, from the ones who so indulge in what is taught is called smarts and science, and those not out. You know, it's like you're trying to knock them if you say nonsense. I'm going to have a segment and I'm going to talk about that. But it's not time to talk about that now. But you understand what I mean. From all those different people. That marks back to the Bible days with the Gentiles, the Pharisees. You know, the people so built with knowledge, but you have knowledge of different things. Now, from the knowledge back then, because all they care about was the Bible and control and stuff, and money. It's still now, but it's like more added onto it. And it's more vast of what sin is, because there's so much things. And then when you think about the Ten Commandments, it's of how everything is. It's like the perfect way to mature yourself. There's so much things to indulge in. Now we got TV and movies and stuff. And most of those stuff is it's a lot. And all the sins and stuff that God don't want us to do, we're watching it. If you get what I'm saying. You're watching it. He's like, oh, it's fake. They're acting it out. And you're watching it. He talked about idolism and adultery. There's people who love their cars more than they love the people around them. These people love the celebrities more than they trying to have a relationship with God. Even your phone is an idol. Because if you're putting it in front of God, it's an idol. That's why we have the Ten Commandments. It's to help us. So you can try your very hardest and best, because it can be done, to follow them. The goal is to stay holy, and it can be done. It's either you're living for your spirit or you're living for your flesh. That's the difference. Why people say it can't be done. That's why they have this narrative of telling you that Yahshua died for your sins instead of telling you he was murdered. He was murdered because he's trying to tell you about the Ten Commandments so you can be good. Satan was amongst those people. It was so easy for them to control until somebody come in and try to stir the pot. And it was too much for them, because this is how they control people. What got on their nerves is when on the Sabbath, when he heals people. That got on their nerves. Feeding the multitude. Like how you feed people with just 12 loaves and 2 fish. Was it 5 loaves and 2 fishes that end up with 12 baskets? Even that itself, I should talk about. Because that's symbolic. Feeding the multitude. We are the multitude. You feed them. And he left basket to feed us. You understand what that means? When he said what bread is. He even broke bread with his disciples, and even them didn't understand what bread is until he died. He explained what bread is. And when he went to the temple and told the Pharisees and the teachers, the elders, and he talked about my body and drink of my blood, eat of my flesh, they didn't understand what that means. What do you mean by even them? But when he had supper and he explained it to them, what the body means. Body means the word, the spirit, the truth. For word become flesh. He told you about the 10 Commandments, fulfilling the word of God. He came flesh to tell you that it's true. Everything in that book is true. And when he gave those words, the 10 Commandments, he came to tell you what it means, what you can do, so you can escape the wrath. Sin is what gonna make God get mad and destroy this place. For sin and evil to be over with, he has to destroy it. So, for all that to happen, he gave us time to get it right. Understand? So now we know what the flesh means and the blood. It washes sin. I mean, everything that you cast from the 10 Commandments, everything that you have done, the fornication, stealing, lying, killing, converting, believing in all the other religions, following other ways of the world, that's converting. You're following them. You're changing what God tells you to do to what they're telling you to do. You're converting. You're believing that science can save you, but God can't. That's converting. You're believing in all these different separation and denomination. That's converting. You're believing in everything else, like any other Hinduism, everything else, anything that has a statue, Buddhism, those are converting. You're adapting to what they say instead of what God say. And there's a lot of converting. Religion here is is doing that to the utmost. All these different religions and all, even a president being ruled over you instead of God. You following it, not saying, he said, give to Caesar what is Caesar mean. Do what they say, to keep your place in order. But when it comes to God, give God what is to God. So what God say, you follow what he say. But to cope, like pay your taxes and stuff that they can come and take your stuff, that's dealing with them. It's always about money. So your taxes and paying for rent and all that type of stuff, do for them what is for them. But for God, you do what God say. And it goes for us now. If they're saying you don't need God, and that's what they're doing with COVID, they're saying that you need science. They even showing you movies saying God left you, God forsake you. You have to depend on us. And they put you to the point that you're in codependence. You understand what I'm saying? Converting. There's a lot of converting going on right now. There's a lot of fornication, and that goes with adultery. Because if you're not married, you don't have a wife or a husband, you're fornicating. You don't have to be somebody's wife or husband, but if you sleep with them, that itself is bad itself. Because you are having sex out of marriage. And adultery covers a wide variety when it comes to sex. And that is huge. That's one of the biggest sins. And all sins is going to be judged the same. It's vast. It's you got man sleeping with man, woman sleeping with woman, You got incest. You have people marrying young kids. You got man touching little kids. People raping each other. It's vast of the sexual immortality that is happening. It's immorally. It's a lot of it. And you have people who's stealing, because you have people who's stealing from God with these tithes and offering, knowing that you're not using it for your church, you're using it for you. You're using it for you. Stealing from God. Lying about what you do with your money. Lying how you get it. Lying how you... stealing from God. You're stealing from these people. And then you feeding them prosperity teaching, making them feel living in their sin is good. You just believe in God, you're good. You just got baptized, you're good. You just good. They're teaching you to rely on them feeding you nonsense. You've given them money. And you're still in your sin. They have not helped you. Like you're baptized, you're good. You don't have to follow 10 commandments. You're good. All you gotta do is believe in God. You're good. That's nonsense. Nonsense. Just how demons can speak tongues. You got people in other religions. They speak, and tongues mean a different language, right? If they can speak tongues, and we, as believers of God bless us with tongues, but when it's from God, from when it's a demon. There's nonsense going on in these churches and stuff. That's why demons love roaming around in there. Devil will walk up in there and you won't be afraid. Because, it's a lot of nonsense. It's like nobody's telling people, you have to follow these 10 commandments. Why do you think he told us that we can pray? We can repent, meaning when you pray about it, you can stop doing it. If stealing keep getting you in trouble, and you pray to God, say, oh God, help me to get out of this, I will stop stealing. Stop stealing. And it continues, and it goes on. We have to do these things. But the converting and the adultery, those are the major ones. And you have the 7 deadly sins, and it corresponds with all of the 10 commandments. Because those attributes lead to those things. You have people who praise in these celebrities, praise the items that they have in their houses, praising money, praising the things of the world. You can't play the fence. That's how you get shot. You have to pick a side. You can't be good and bad. Either you're all good or you're all bad. And that's why God made us. And they told us, gave us free will and tell us, hey, all these things I give unto you. But this tree that I gave you, don't eat from it. Don't do sin. Don't sin. you have the world to live in and walk upon, made you all so y'all can coexist with each other, because you need each other to help each other to grow. That's why we have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Father, woman, child. So we all can coexist, multiply, and live among each other and help each other. I need milk, you got a cow, but I have sugar and you need it. I gave you some of my sugar for some of your milk. Helping each other, you know what I mean? So we coexist to help each other. But when you add in the 10 Commandments, it keeps us in line. Because our flesh will make us do a lot of things. And with these guidelines, tell us how to control ourselves, how to walk among the pestilence and the evil one. He tell us about the full armor. That's like he's telling us about the flesh and the blood. It's the same thing. The full armor of God. And you connect that with the 10 Commandments. It all coexists together. How we all coexist together. That's why without the Father, you can't have the Son. And you can't accept the Son without the Father. They're together. God showed us himself the first day of the week and the last day of the week, his sunrise. And it leads us back to God. You get what I'm saying? We have to understand about that. Understanding God, meaning he is light, truth. Without him, there is no light. He is the light from the darkness, means sin. He separated himself in the beginning, so he shall do in the end. The beginning and the end goes together. Just how his Son and the Father goes together. You can't have one without the other. So you accept God, he told you what he don't like, the 10 Commandments. And you accept his Son, they murdered him for him to tell you about those 10 Commandments. Tell you about how you should live your life. Telling you what you should do. Because they still follow the words of Moses. For the people who didn't want to follow God. That's why they didn't inherit the land. They rejected God. Their offsprings. Why do you think they roamed for so many years? The little kids that grew up to be adults, those were the ones. All the ones that were already old enough age, they didn't get to see it. And now in this age, they try to corrupt the kids. They're the most vulnerable. If y'all are already not following the 10 Commandments and not teaching your kids that, what use is for them? Huh? We're talking about all these name brands. They want to talk about kids now with that? What about what God said? He been told you those things was wrong. You don't want to follow them. I'm just painting a picture for you to see. We're at the season now for God's return. We're in the season of preparation. We're in the season of harvest. This is harvest season. This is the season of harvest, when God is going to reap up his crops. We're in the season of the harvest. So this is when we need to start. Because now censorship is coming, digital currency, the mark of the beast. They want us to be just like a computer. They're already training us for these generation to generation to be so. We're already converted, adapted to all these different sins. That's why we talk about the great falling away. Narrow is the road to God. So following these commandments is going to be hard. You're not going to want to be in your phone to gossip. Listen to these nonsense music. This is the time we need to detach ourselves from the world. But this is harvest season. For us to be harvest, we are not the weed. We are the wheat. Let me say that again. We are not the weed. We are the wheat. It's like the farmer with the barn. With the weed is growing up with the wheat. And you can't pluck up because it's going to damage the root. So you let them grow up together. That's all of us. The scattered ones who have God. In the land filled with wolves. So we are like the sheep and the goats mixed up in herds together. Same thing with the wheat and the weed. We are the sheep. You have the goats. Now the great shepherd. The field is wide. But he has a narrow path that we can go into the barn. The same thing with the farmers. They're all growing up together. But he can't harvest yet until harvest time for him to pluck up everything together. Separate the weed. Separate the wheat. Wrap up the wheat. Bundle them and put it away. And then throw the weed in the fire. That's with us with God. What he put away in the farmyard barn, that's in heaven with him. And the ones he put in, the weed that he put in the fire, that's the sinners. Now you're talking about with the sheep. Yahshua comes. He anoints our head with oil. So we're not affected by the world. So he gave us oil so we can prepare. So we can wash our own head and anoint our own feet. That means in prayer, fasting, anoint our head. So the flies and stuff don't affect our brain. I mean, the things of the world don't affect us. The oil is the word. He gave us the word. The olive tree. He gave us the word. And we are the branches. Now, if you put that connection with the fig tree, there's 2 seasons of the fig tree. One when it blossomed the fruit, but the fruit is still green. And you have to take off the branches so the sun can shine on the fruit, because you can't pick it before it's time, because it would be bitter. You have to wait for the sun to on it, and it ripens it over time, but it takes time. It takes time for the fruit to develop, for it to ripen. Now, when it's ripened, it's harvest season, so it's able for them to pluck it. Now, those 2 seasons of the fig tree is with the sinners who are green. They have fruit, but it's green. It's bitter. It's not ripe. You can't share their word because it's bitter. It's no good, but yet it's still fruit. And then you have the ones who are of the season when it's ripe. It's good. You can eat it. And it's good enough for everybody else to have, because it's good for them to have. That's with us. You have people who are of fruit, but they're green. It's bitter. Their word is no good. They're not sharing what needs to be shared. Or you have people in the world who are of that fig, which is green. Now the people of God, the ripe fruit, the one who shares the word, it's good enough for you to have because it's good enough for me to have. In different perspective, so you can understand, this is harvest season, and we need to be in preparation. We need to disconnect ourselves from the world. Because the more you temper in, the more you feed into it, you're going to go right into the stuff that they're leading you to. And it's the mark of the beast. It's here already, but they haven't distributed it in full capacity. They already have you feeling by testing you. With the shot, before even the shot come, the test, sticking it up your nose hole. Sticking it up your nose hole. You don't know what they're sticking up your nose hole? It's messed up your sinuses. Every time you get tested, you don't know if you're getting a camera shoved up your nose hole. There's many cameras that's smaller than a rice grain, shoving it up your nose hole. You got people right now with the jab. They tested putting it in your arm and in your head. There's people right now who have it in their arms, and there's people right now walking around who have a camera in their head. It's not even a camera, a little mini computer. You got people right now in different places that has a chip in their arm. And now you got Amazon. Amazon. Something One, that you can wave your hand. Amazon One. You wave your hand and you pay because your fingerprint and your biometric, your fingerprints is connected to your bank card on their app. So you go in the grocery store and you can swap over your hand and you can go buy stuff. Because for you to shop there, you have to do that. Because it's there. To shop, you can't shop no other regular way. And it's in different supermarkets right now. The main one is, what is it called? Supermarket? I don't think it's called supermarket, but it's a supermarket. It's a well-known Fresh Mart or something like that. Green Food, Soul Food, something food. I don't know the name of the supermarket, but you can get brown paper bags, and it has like a little, in front of the logos. I think it's a basket with food in it. Is their logo? Smart Foods or something like that. Whole Foods. I think that's what it's called. Whole Foods. Already now in California, like they're testing different ways. And they have countries already that's already gone digital, and they're already rolling out their digital money. There's places in Africa right now, okay, that they have a digital ID that's connected to all your payments and stuff. And if you don't have it, you can't do anything. I'm like, there are different ways to roll out everywhere. And when they roll it out, they're going to try and change it to be one thing. All right? And that's what these countries are fighting about. Whose dollar is more important? You know? Whose dollars are more important? All right? Until the Antichrist show himself, and he's going to say, he's going to choose. And we don't want to wait until that happens. Because all central banks are off the Vatican's. I'm going to say that again. Central banks are connected to the Vatican's. And where these digital currency coming from? The central banks. And the central bank is in their country, has their dollars. Until the central bank chooses what they want for everyone to have. So they're narrowing it down. So I don't want y'all to say like, oh, it's gonna be when he said, God said he's gonna fool many. We don't want to be the ones to be fooled. You see, the ones who keep watch is the one who sees. That change will happen. That change will come. We don't want to wait for that change to come for us not to be prepared. We have to be prepared for this just as much as we have to be prepared for God. And for us to be prepared for God, we're going to have to go through this. So for us to prepare for that, that's where fasting come in, right? They're going to try, we're humans. What are the things that we need just to cope and live, right? Corresponding with other people. You're going to need food. You're going to need water. But you can't survive on food and water alone. You need the word of God. Just as much as we're growing in flesh, our spirit has to be grown too. That's what I'm telling you about. Your spiritual self needs to grow. And for that to happen, we have to fast and pray more. We have to follow these commandments more. Because the vast of sin is wide and it's bright, and the devil's already show himself through music, through the movies we watch, the politicians, the celebrities, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you see that all these things is of the devil, you will separate yourself from it. This is harvest season. And the more I'm talking about the harvest season, I'm going to talk about scriptures and stuff that goes with it. And I don't like these people just throw scriptures out there because it got to go. The Bible said the truth is going to come out in the last days. I'm here to talk about the truth. I'm not here to go by what these people mixed up in the word of God. Daniel himself said that happened. So it's true. They already having you call in Yahshua Jesus. And he told you that ain't his name. Adonai, Adonai. I cast out demons in your name. He said, yeah, you did. But I'm the root. So of course I'm going to help you. But that's not my name. He said, even then, you say you know me, but you don't know me. What's my name? You say you know me, but you don't know me. He's not talking about just your faith. He's talking about his name. Yeah, you did, but you don't know me. You don't know me. You calling me what these Greeks call me. You call me what these Romans call me. And these Roman people is the Vaticans right now. You following them? The Pope right now is up the Jesuits. If you look up the Jesuits, they mean the followers of the people that goes around to all churches and talk about Jesus. He called himself Jesus in flesh, God on earth. You hear that? I need y'all to wake up and open up your eyes. It's in plain sight what is going on. We need to wake up and start to speak up. And what I mean speak up, you got to start telling these people what is going on. The Vaticans are evil. That central bank is connected to them. And they're trying to make everything come digital. He's not who we think he is, going around talking about peace, talking about making new commandments. Hello, wake up. Let's go. We need to talk up. We got to tell these pastors who talking these nonsense to shut up. Tell them straight up, I can question you. You're a man. But I can't question God. God is the way, the truth, and the light, and He's the first and the last, the beginning and the end. He told us what is. I'm not questioning God. I'm questioning you and your motives. You out here dragging us straight to hell with you. You got to talk against these things. You got to rebuke them in the blood of Yahshua. I'm telling you. It's time. It is time. It is time. It is time. Speak up. So we know who you are. And tell these other people from all these other religions, like, yo, they separated us for us not knowing the truth, so we can go to hell with them. Tell them who made this, having you celebrating all these paganism, idolatry. if you're out there praising a celebrity, following them and stuff, it's time for you to say, you know what, forget social media. If you're going to post about God and have a good day and go watch your business. Don't be on there gossiping. Don't be on there gossiping. If you can go in there, comment and say, yo, God is coming, throw a little word up in there, and get out of there. Don't be gossiping. Because that's all that's out there is gossiping and hearing what's going on, other people saying, and it's everywhere. Even the news is doing it. It's everywhere. And if you go over the commandments, go over it, and then you see, and then you look at your TV when you see it, like, yo, you're watching what God said he don't like. That make you want to change the things that you watch. And all the things that God say he don't like, you hear it in these songs. That make you stop listening to it. It's time for us to separate ourselves. It's harvest season. I've been babbling on and on and on and on and on. But I'm going to eventually make another video. And the reason why I make long videos is because you have to build up your attention span back up. These short videos and stuff is only to grab your attention for a quick minute. I'm not trying to grab your attention. I'm trying to fill your mind up. It's time for us to fill her head with good oil. Not the stuff that will kill us, but the stuff that can fulfill us. I'm out of here. I love y'all. Have a good day. You know, I'm going to go over some word. And so I'll see you on my next video. Have a good one.